Welcome to the Rocket Raygun Awards, Night 5, the Game of the Year discussion. I'm your host, Victor Lucas, and I'm joined by two other fantastic hosts from the EP and Reviews on the Run family. Shaun Hatton is here, and Jose Sanchez is here. How are you, gentlemen? Both looking great. I like your...
I thought we were rolling the whole time. Like we just had an in-depth conversation.
And, we were having an in-depth, not ready for television conversation.
NSFT, not suitable for Twitch.
It's suitable for the dark and seedy parts of the internet, which we aren't. We're family friendly tonight for the most part. Although we do have David Jaffe in the show. And you guys know. He works blue. My name is Goku is here. Blarcade is here. Last Disciple. I've got Hero Grim. Should be a decent stream, he says. Don't set your expectations too high, Hero Grim 8. But I guarantee you're going to have a good time. We've got lots of fantastic people from around the industry. We are going to chat about the best stuff of 2021 and also about the coolest things that are coming our way in 2022. My name is Goku. Who's going to go see Spider-Man on Sunday. Don't watch any trailers if you can avoid it. You're going to like the movie so much more.
I haven't seen one trailer.
Of Spider-Man?
Of Spider-Man.
Oh, dude, you're going to... I'm definitely going to have a spoiler conversation about that, and I think I can say I've seen...
not
me. Now. Not. You want to hear everything about it, Boobs? No, I can't wait to talk about it with people. I'm going to probably do it on Monday or Tuesday or something like that, but much better if you haven't seen anything. I also saw Matrix Resurrections, so we'll be talking about that very soon. Mega Fubar and Don Sean, JBJ Blaze says, and Faint Signal here is, what a time for an ad break. Oh, we got an ad break in there.
You can avoid that with a subscription to your...
Oh, you can? Yeah. I don't quite know all of the way the Twitch stuff works. I'm going to have to go to the guru, Don Fubar, and figure all of this stuff out. But thank you for joining us, Thunderpin56 and Faint Signal and Nolan FSC, who says, hey, Don and Sean. Do people think that your name is Don?
Yeah.
Oops. A lot?
Yeah.
They do, don't they?
Yeah.
Do you get Don? Are you cool with Don?
I'm cool with Don. As long as it's not like asshole. They're like, hey. They're like, all right. That's better.
Oh, man, that's great. And that it is going to be something... I was trying to be witty there, but there's no way to be witty about this. All right, we are going to go...
And where are you going with that?
Because he said asshole, and then I was going to go somewhere, and it's like, no, I can't say that because it's mean.
Keep it PG. We don't want our affiliate status in jeopardy over here.
Does that happen?
I don't know.
I don't know. Who knows?
Cyberbullying me, Vic. Don't cyberbully me.
I apologize.
On his own stream.
It's wonderful to have you guys both here. We're going to go into our final what have you played the most in 2021 video. And before we do that, I want to ask you guys, what have you played the most in 2021? I think we talked a little bit about it on the separate days that you were on.
Yeah.
But let's recap. What have you played the most, Foobs?
Well, it's funny for me. Twitch just sent out their recap of the most played stuff, and I streamed for almost 900 hours this year already.
Oh my god!
Already, it's not over. There's still more to come. Apparently, Spelunky 2, which was my most played game last year, because I started at my beginning of my year. It was just all about Spelunky, but I feel like recently I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty, like offline, and I usually don't play games offline. For me, it's like if I'm going to be playing, I might as well be streaming because what's the point?
It's such a fun game.
It's just such a blast to go in there, and everything's like every character has a weapon that levels up, and the characters level up, and they do double XP weekends. You're just like, all right, I'm gonna hop in, and you just feel like you're doing stuff. Like I was got like 7 new skins and 12 scopes I'll never use, but I got them. It's so good. So that's like my tune down, sort of wind down. I just want to go shoot things in the face game.
Awesome.
Nice.
And Sean, what have you been playing the most?
You know what?
I love your arcade, man. Your arcade back behind you is just so dope.
Thanks so much. I spend a lot of time in here playing like various classic games and such, but actually, like Foobs, I've been spending a lot of time shooting people in the face. But in Overwatch, I got a new kind of gaming PC that I was like, I'm gonna do work on this thing, but mostly I spend a lot of time
working on shooting,
just griefing.
You can
people.
work on PCs.
Oh yeah, for
You
sure.
can do work on PCs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I
Okay.
mean, don't tell my bosses, but I think so. Yeah.
There's plenty of PowerPoint on those PCs.
Right.
Oh yeah, my Clippy comes up sometimes. Get the hell out of here. But yeah, I've recently discovered the joy that is Overwatch. It's a completely silly game. It still has a pretty good player base going on. I think a lot of people are excited about the sequel coming up probably next year if it's on track. But yeah, like getting into this game now after all of the expansions and new characters that have been added to it, it's just like it's completely wild. And I love that it is, it's a pretty serious and well balanced shooter, I would say, but it's also goofy as hell. Like, it's so funny, and I think that's what I like most about it, is just like it's so colorful, it's challenging. And the people on there seem to have a good time, unless it's competitive.
I miss Overwatch. There's a bunch of these games I'd like to go back to, But yeah, Overwatch is amazing. I can't wait for the sequel. Okay, before we check out the What Have You Played the Most in 2021 video, I want to give a nice shout out and a thank you to our sponsor. The Rocket and Raygun Awards are brought to you by the Gaming Stadium. They are Canada's leader in online esports tournament facilitation, and they've got tournaments happening every single weekend that you don't want to miss out on. You can find out all about them at tgs.gg. All right, you guys, let's take a look at the final collection of comments about the games that people have been playing the most in 2021.
Okay, so thank you very much to Electric Playground for having me this year for the Rocket and Raygun Awards. Very honored to be a part of this, and I guess if we're talking about games that I have played the most this year, well, there is one game that definitely fits that bill, and it's a game that you're going to have to hear me out on. The game that I played the most this year is Marvel's Avengers, and the reason why that is because I'm a content creator who covers superhero-related games on my channel, and of course, Marvel's Avengers is exactly that. They had a ton of content that was added into the game, Hawkeye back in March, Black Panther, and a huge expansion for the character back in August, and very recently, Spider-Man was added to the game for PlayStation owners. So, yes, there was a lot, and there were many reasons for me to jump back into the game throughout the year, and it is the game that I've played the most. It's very rough around the edges. This game's got a lot of issues. If you can pick it up for a bargain, if you can get it on sale, I would recommend it considering the amount of content, and especially if you get it on PlayStation, you can try out Spider-Man, but just keep in mind, this game's got a lot of bugs. It's got a lot of issues.
The game I played the most, by far, has to be Song in the Smoke. For those that don't know, Song in the Smoke is a prehistoric fantasy survival game. You have to craft, forage, hunt, and survive in this ever-expanding world, taking shelter, hunting, defending yourself from predators. It's very challenging. It's seen a bunch of content since it's launched, and it is by far one of my favorite games of the year. Definitely the game I spent the most time in. And if you have a PC, PlayStation, or Quest headset, you should pick this one up.
Great year this year. Played tons of games on Game Pass. Some highlights for me, Forza Horizon 5. Loved playing through that. Artful Escape was amazing as well. And Psychonauts 2, one of my favorite games for sure this year. What a sequel, what a great story, what great artwork. Love it.
Star Wars Pinball. This title's been out for a while, but I've been traveling a lot this year for conventions now that they're back, and it's just the perfect game to take on the go on my Nintendo Switch. There are so many different tables for all the various Star Wars movies and other Star Wars properties like TV. It is awesome. It's a great game. It handles really well. It controls well. I like video pinball because it's an old school genre, and as you guys know, if you watch my channel or read my books, I am very old school. Love me some Star Wars pinball, and I played it a ton this year.
This year, I was lured back into the Xbox family. I can play Xbox, and I don't even have an Xbox console. But the game that I want to talk about this year that I've really put a lot of time into is Metroid Dread. Put about 40 hours into this game. Excellent action-adventure, platforming, exploration, puzzle solving. It's a great return for Samus Aran, and one of the best single-player experiences I've had in 2021. I hope you all have a great holiday, and most importantly, play forever.
The game that I've been playing the most this year has been Forza Horizon 5. The activities that you could do online, playing with friends, different type of multiplayer modes, and I just love also just exploring all around the country of Mexico. So it was a lot of fun playing that game, and yeah, that one of my favorite games, man, for this year. That's why I have the most hours too.
My most played game of 2021 is the game called Do I Say It? This is the game where you look at your social media and see all your friends posting horrendous opinions on every matter, and you decide to yourself, do you tell them they're an idiot? It's a tremendous amount of fun. I highly... Oh, sorry. It's got to be a video game? Okay. Well, in that case, my most played video game has got to be Halo Infinite's multiplayer. Specifically the multiplayer. It's brought me back to high school. All my friends are playing it. There's 15 of us online. I can't stop thinking about it when I'm at work. I want to get home early to come back and play more. It just makes me feel like a kid again. I don't even like multiplayer games. I don't spend that much time playing multiplayer, but this game has me hooked. I've been going back every night for Fiesta mode, for Slayer, for Oddball, everything. It's a lot of fun. Please check it out. It's free. It's on Game Pass. Well, it's free.
Greetings there, peeps. This is Nathaniel, aka JBJ Blaze. In my most played game of 2021, it's actually a toss-up between none other than The Last of Us Remastered and Ghost of Tsushima. And that's because of the 40-ish hours spent with Gene Sakai, and in Legends, with the Avatar-style narration of Greg Baldwin, reaching 100 hours, with Joel and Ellie, and dying to complete my faction's multiplayer story. Play forever.
The game I've been playing the most this year has been Halo Infinite. I know the game recently just came out, but the multiplayer came out a little bit earlier because they decided to release it a little bit earlier, and I'm ashamed to say that I've been diving way more hours into that than any other game because of its multiplayer. I feel like 343 really couldn't find a great place for their multiplayer for the longest time when it came to the Halo series. Halo 4 and Halo 5 just didn't really hit with me, but this one feels so much like what Bungie had done originally that it's really just impactful, and that hook shot, that grapple shot, it just makes the multiplayer so much fun. So because of that right there, that's the game I'm playing the most. I'm not going to say it's because of the grapple shot, but it's probably because of the grapple shot.
All right, not my favorite game of 2021, but my most played would be It Takes Two. EA and Hazelight did such a great job on this co-op game that has some head-to-head or competitive elements to it as well with some of the mini games. But you know, we had a lot of company over when things started opening up a bit with the pandemic. We had friends over with their kids, and it was a game that we thought was great for them to play, and they loved it. How you had to work together, or adults would play with kids, and it was one of those that we just kept going back to. Just a really, really fun game. I was probably a little too hard on it in my review in the spring, but gotta say, I've been playing it all year round, and it's really a lot of fun. So It Takes Two. Hazelight, congratulations, what an awesome game.
The games I've been playing the most this year, it's kind of a cheat answer, but it's just Resident Evil, the franchise. Village came out this summer, and before that, like I try to do every time a big Resident Evil comes out, I just go through the entire franchise. So I played all the entries from 0 all the way up to Village, and then when Village came out, played that thing a ton of times, just going through, getting all the unlockables, Mercenaries mode, just everything. Just so much Resident Evil in 2021.
The game that I've been playing most in 2021 is by far Monster Hunter Rise. Well over 80 hours in that game so far. This was a series that I have been trying to get into for the longest time, but none of the previous titles ever really clicked with me. But with Monster Hunter Rise, the fluidity of the combat, you're running up walls, you're zipping across the screen, just felt so good that I got immediately hooked. And with Sunbreak coming out next year, I'm probably going to be playing a lot more Monster Hunter Rise in 2022.
I've been playing a ton of Fortnite this year. It's been a fun, unique way for me to connect with my nephew who lives so far away from me. We play games together every weekend, and it's been a blast. Going through the entirety of Chapter 2 and getting all these cool skins with him and just hearing his genuine reaction and joy have been a blast for me. So I'm not a good builder, but he is. I've been the good shooter. So we're a great team, and it's been fun to connect and grow with him.
The game I played most in 2021, Victor, goodness gracious, sir, you ask hard questions. I guess the game I played the most would be a competition between a wonderful indie action RPG called Unsighted, Halo Infinite multiplayer, which I am addicted to, But I think the one I played the very most was Returnal. I love that game. I suck at it. I don't even know if I beat or got to the third boss, which should show you how much I love it. It's a game that, even though it kicks my ass repeatedly, I can't stop playing it because I love the world. I love the way it controls. I love how the haptics work on the PS5 controller, the narrative, the story, the speed that it loads when you die. It's addictive. It's wonderful. I would say Returnal is the game I played the most in 2021.
Thunderpin56 summed it up nicely. A lot of great choices here. Gaming is so diverse. I love it. I think that's been my favorite part of this whole exercise because I've had to, I reached out to a bunch of people across the biz, and I got you guys involved, and you guys involved, and just to see everybody's perspective and choices. We're going to dig into a lot of Game of the Year choices, and I know there are going to be a bunch that surprise you as much as they did me. I've loved it.
There was some good editing in that montage there. I mean, you ended on the Returnal's greatest weapon of all time, that thermal pylon gun. That should win an award itself. If you're playing Returnal, the thermal pylon, best gun in the game.
Thermal pylon is just a fun thing to say, too. Thermal pylon.
Game-changing experiences.
Hey, first-time chat from a viewer, the Duder 101, favorite RE game, asking Coco. The Duder. Do you guys have a favorite Resident Evil game? What's your favorite Resident Evil game?
The first one.
4? And your first one for you, Foobs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just because it was one of my first big box PlayStation games. And I was like, I saved up for it and I bought it and I was like, oh, this game looks so cool. And it was just that first experience. You can only experience Resident Evil, once.
Yes.
That first time. And it was the first Resident Evil game. It was just like, oh man, It was just so cool. I just couldn't believe how the graphics at the time, like these zombies look so real. He's eating this dude's neck. And it was like, Wesker!
Why hasn't Capcom done Resident Evil 1 like they've done 2 and 3?
Because it's perfect already. Yeah. It's perfect.
Is it?
I think did a remastered one.
No, they did a remaster, but the remakes of 2 and 3 were incredible. They looked amazing.
Yeah, the GameCube one is really good.
Yeah.
And then the HD version of it kind of is not as good because you can tell the texture differences between the things that you can move and interact with and then just the background. But yeah, I think what makes Resident Evil, the original one, so scary is just how lo-fi and claustrophobic it is, really.
Yeah. You're in it's like you're in that mansion. You're like, are we ever going to get out of this mansion? How big is this mansion? No, it's massive.
Dude, and you think that it's done so many times. Like the first time you were playing the game, you're like, I gotta be near the end now.
I got the 3 emblems. I'm unlocking the gate. I'm walking out the back door. Wait,
I'm safe. Yeah.
There's a thing under the fountain. What is happening?
Did you guys see Welcome to Raccoon City? Did you see the movie?
No.
No interest? Huge RE fans, no interest. I think it's a big bomb, which kind of sucks because I mean,
Rick.
a lot of people
crap movie.
A lot of people hate the movie. I reviewed it and I had a pretty good time because it feels like the cutscenes kind of from these games, from back in the day. One of the guys has a Palm Pilot, and he's got all of the data for his missions on his Palm Pilot, and people are like, "What the hell is that?"
Jill's reacting to her pager. Like, I got a page from Barry.
Yeah.
Early days of EP, I would keep scripts on my Palm Pilot. I was still using it. It was like the cusp of iPhones were becoming a thing.
Dude, the Palm Pilot changed my life because we used to travel to game companies all the time. And I'd printed out maps from MapQuest from the computer to try to figure out where to go, and we were late all the time because we're like, "What the hell? Am I taking the wrong turn and the wrong?" And then I was able to digitize a lot of the directions onto a Palm Pilot, and it's like, "Oh my god, it's the future!" And then we got Palm Pilots that actually connected to the internet at 14.4 baud or whatever, and it took forever to download anything. But yeah, it's been great.
Are there people in the chat who don't know what a Palm Pilot is?
Because I think we've got a chat filled with incredibly savvy individuals that have been around for a little while. Even if they're young, they are tuned into all of the technology and all the history, and I think that's why they dig EP. Whether if you came at it and you're young, you still recognize that we were there before Palm Pilots. We were out shooting when we'd have to park at a payphone and say, where are you guys? We can't find your office.
Like back when I started with EP, the iPod had just come out, and goddamn, you could carry 100 songs at once.
The iPhone was such a huge revolution for me in production. Like, it changed everything, being able to access all the stuff and write scripts and do all of that stuff. All right. Anyways, we have a lot more show to get to. One of the things that I wanted to do for the most anticipated, this is the award that I kind of put back into the community, and I created a tweet that sort of put a bracket together of 16 different games, and you can see some of them, like Dying Light 2 and Marvel's Midnight Suns and Sifu and Suicide Squad. So I pitted 16 games. I made 8 different polls, and I pitted the 16 against each other, basically, and then we moved up into the bracket. And then eventually,
Sweet 16 to the Elite 8.
Yeah, exactly.
To the Final Four.
You got it. I followed the March Madness stuff for sure. So you can see Elden Ring and Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. I had a lot of people saying, "What the hell are you doing? That's an impossible choice. Nobody wants to pick that one." But I felt like the best of the best was going to bubble up to the surface, and then it ended up that you can see how the brackets kind of fared. We had Sifu get eliminated right away, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge actually beat Suicide Squad versus the Justice League, which I thought was a pretty remarkable thing to happen.
Never discredit the Turtles, bro.
And it ended up...
I love being a turtle!
Oh, who doesn't love being a turtle? It ended up being Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 against God of War Ragnarok. This was the final vote.
The Bow versus the Gow.
Yeah. 2 incredible games headed our way. Cannot wait for both of these. But before we run the sort of celebration on Zelda, what are you most looking forward to, Foobs, in 2022?
Oh, man.
Game-wise.
Spelunky 3 is not coming out, so that's off the list. I mean, obviously, the big ones, most of that list, I can't wait to play. I'm really excited for God of War. I was hoping it would come out this year, but we obviously didn't get that to happen.
No.
And am
Starfield
I that excited?
Was on that list.
Starfield, another one I can't wait to check out. I just want to experience it. Breath of the Wild 2, I expect to be more Breath of the Wild, but a better version of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a great time playing Breath of the Wild, but it wasn't on my high horse as it was for a lot of people out there.
Yep.
Elden Ring, I just don't want to be too God Soulsy.
Right.
I want it to be an experience that I can get in and struggle a little bit, but not like that first experience I had with Dark Souls where I just hated it. And then Ben hated me, and then I hated him, and then he taught me the ways of the souls. And
welcome to our therapy session.
Yeah. I just really want to get
Oh, those games can make you feel like that for sure. So what is it then? What is it? Starfield? Is it Redfall?
No, I think it's going to be God of War. God of War will probably be the one that I have to just get into because I'm going to take advantage of that PS5 power and
totally.
Boy, I want to hear boy and that fidelity coming out of my controller. Boy,
too.
Boy, is he a boy still? Is he a man now? I don't know. Man,
yeah,
son.
It's gonna be crazy to see Atreus kind of come into his own and become his own character, his own.
What if he
God
takes
of
over?
War.
That's my
I
spoiler.
think he might, right?
It's my spoiler alert.
What about you, Sean? What are you most psyched for 2022?
I mean, you think of a title like God of War and how it's always pushed graphics to the next level, regardless of whatever platform it was on. Like, yeah. I can't believe they had that on PS2. Like, that still looks good going back to it to me.
The PSP version.
Yeah, the PSP one looks great. Like,
we were talking about old phones. I played it on a Sony Ericsson little tiny phone with a little tiny little thumbstick. And that was still good. A little pixelated God of War was super cool. Beat the game.
Like, all the way in the other direction to like lo-fi or lowish-fi. And I am excited about Shredder's Revenge.
Yeah.
Not just the gameplay, because I love beat 'em ups, but from what we've seen so far, like the turtle sprites and the enemies have so much character in them. Like they all have their own
incredible
animations and personalities. And I'm also curious about how Star Wars Hunters is going to turn out. Like,
sure, yeah,
I've had my eye on that for a while, and as a Star Wars fan, like I always love jumping into that galaxy and exploring it in different ways. And I'm excited that some of the older Star Wars games have now come back into accessibility with things like the Republic Commando and the Jedi Outcast.
Aren't they doing Knights of the Old Republic KOTOR?
That's just been re-released for the Switch.
Yeah,
and it's upgraded if you have the classic on the Xbox new machines. And they're doing a remake, which I think is PlayStation 5 kind of focus.
If they can Dead Space style remake Knights of the Old Republic, that's done. Good night.
That's Aspire that's doing it. And I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get to another level with this stuff because they've done a lot of decent remasters, but now they want to kind of.
You're gonna have to redo your Sweet 16 then. I should be on there.
It's not next year. I think we're talking 2023. That's a huge one. I'm surprised we don't know anything more about a Jedi Fallen Order 2. You got to know that Respawn's cooking on that. I can't wait to play that one. Well, our winner, though, in the poll, in our brackets, was The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. Let's celebrate that.
Wow.
I'm kind of with you, Foobs, on Zelda. Zelda Breath of the Wild is my favorite game of all time. But
time.
It's my favorite game
of the history.
Yes,
of the thousands.
It is my game.
Tens of thousands.
What is your game? So we can make fun of your choice. Proceed.
It's clearly going to be better than Breath of the Wild. Victor.
Oh, what is it then?
Wow!
Put up. What is it? DOA beach volleyball. What is it?
Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball.
Okay, all right. Okay.
It's not just beach
Breath of the Wild
volleyball.
wins. Okay, no, what is it? What's your favorite?
I can't pick a favorite. It's like picking your favorite kid.
No, that's the job. That's the task at hand here. Well, so I started this. I preface this agreeing with you that it feels like an extension of what we've already kind of seen before. So I don't know how much surprise is in there for me.
Well, it's going to be OLED now.
It'll be OLED, and maybe it'll be with. Maybe it'll be with the new Switch. Somebody's laughing out loud about the DOA volleyball choice. What I mean, kind of honestly,
Rumble
what is your favorite
Roses,
game?
Vic.
What's
WWF No Mercy on the Nintendo 64?
There you go, WWF
hands down.
No Mercy. That's your favorite game of all time. Okay, interesting. Sean, what's your favorite game of all time?
Phantasy Star for Sega Master System.
Amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, good choices. Mine happens to be The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So
it's a great game.
It's pretty good.
I love that freaking
It's
game.
no Extreme Beach Volleyball.
Those are fighting words.
Few games are, though.
It's true.
Okay. Kristen Culler is very excited that No Mercy got the shout out in this episode. All right, we are going to move on to our final discussions around the greatest title of 2021. And what I've done is I've reached out to our friends in the video game media community and asked them what is their game of the year for this year.
I say game of the year 2021 should go to Returnal, which is a bullet hell roguelike. When you die, you start all over again, like the way video games used to be, so I'm a big fan. Returnal, PS5.
Oh, I'll do this later. So my favorite game of the year, it's a little surprising to me because I usually go for these more independent titles like XO1, which I think is a fantastic game, one of my favorites of the year. But it's not going there, and it's also not going to go to the very creative Psychonauts 2. It's not going to any of those. The Master Chief did it. The Master Chief fought his way to the end. It's getting my vote. Halo Infinite, Game of the Year. It's just simple fun. You know, when you combine the extremely strong multiplayer with its campaign, which honestly is a little underwhelming. I was hoping for some hype, give you chills moments. But when you combine those together, you have a solid package. It's just what the holidays are all about and what the year is about and what video games are about. Just simple fun. Pop it on, shoot some friends, put a podcast on and explore the world. It's such a good time. Game of the Year 2021, Halo win.
All right, so I might be a bit of a fan of Tim Schafer and his games like Brutal Legend, Day of the Tentacle, and so many others. And Psychonauts 2, of course, is the game of the year for me. It was just such a polished action platformer, puzzler that really ticked all the boxes. Just so fun to play around with the superpowers like levitation and mind reading and slowing down time. Just such a great game. You gotta play Psychonauts 2 on your platformer of choice. Definitely the best game. For me, it was a tough year with so many amazing games like Returnal and Deathloop and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart and too many others to mention, but I gotta say, Psychonauts 2 it is for me. Thank you so much to Double Fine for such a great job, and Xbox as well, the game studio, amazing.
My pick for Game of the Year is one that's personal to me. It's The Artful Escape. You can get it on Xbox Game Pass, and I recommend everybody giving this thing a shot. It is only like 3.5 hours, but it is one of the most memorable 3.5 hour gaming experiences I have ever had. It is from Annapurna, and that means you're getting something quality. It is such a psychedelic adventure unlike anything I've ever experienced. I love the story, I love the characters, and I absolutely love the hype that the entire game has. If you're a fan of the colors around me, you're going to enjoy this video game. Not enough people gave it a shot, and I really think you should, because I do think you're going to like it.
Now, there may be some recency bias here because I just finished playing Halo Infinite's campaign, and it's kind of all I can think about right at this moment. When I think about the game of the year for 2021, I want to say things like Forza Horizon 5. I want to say things like Tales of Arise, which I absolutely love. Psychonauts 2 had my heart and my brain this year, but I think at the end of the day, at the end of the year, Halo Infinite it captured everything. I've played the campaign once. I'm going to fire it up and play it again. Weapon, I think, is one of my favorite characters of the year, right alongside Raz in Psychonauts 2. But Weapon, the new AI in Halo Infinite, is so lovely, so endearing, and such a great addition to the lore. And I just had such a great time with this game. So Halo Infinite really stands above the rest. It seems like a big game too. When I think about Game of the Year, Halo Infinite is a juggernaut. It's gigantic. Multiplayer has been a hit over the last couple weeks in beta. The campaign is rock solid in its gameplay. The story gripped me to a huge degree, and I was just really hyped to play it. So Game of the Year in my books goes to Halo Infinite.
The game that I would pick for Game of the Year would be Inscription. This game came out on PC a little while ago, and unfortunately it hasn't come out to consoles, but I really hope it does. It's got a fantastic story, an incredibly great atmospheric world that is just so rich with details and visuals, and it gets weird. It's a card game, and the card game mechanics are really fun, but as you play it along, the game gets much more stranger in a really fun way. I don't want to spoil the story for anyone, but I highly recommend you play this if you haven't. It's definitely, I want to say a sleeper hit, but I'm pretty sure a lot of other people are coming out of the woodworks to play this. But if you have a chance, you got a PC, give this a shot, and especially if you like card games. It's probably not exactly what you're expecting, but it'll deliver a whole lot more.
It's Psychonauts 2. For Double Fine, best game that I played this year, hands down. I love the messaging, love the campaign, just the game experience, the level design, music. It felt like I was in a Pixar movie. Highly recommend it for those that are watching this video. Make sure right now, download it. It's on almost every platform out there. Psychonauts 2, go for it. You can enjoy it.
So my pick for Game of the Year is a little tricky. There's no big definitive, yes, that's Game of the Year game, There's no big God of War or a Bloodborne or a Witcher or something. So this year, more than most, it just comes down to personal taste for me. So my Game of the Year this year is Life is Strange True Colors. I lost my brother to cancer a few years ago, and Life is Strange just deals with loss and grief and identity and Alex Chen is just one of my all-time favorite characters ever in any medium. I know that's a bold statement, but I just connected to her in such a powerful way, and Life is Strange True Colors is just so memorable, and it means so much to me, and it's just not going to leave my mind, my heart, my soul anytime soon.
Incredible, sharing that happened through all of that stuff. Michael Huber is an amazing guy, and he's gone through some really heavy stuff, and I just loved his honesty there and what he shared, and honestly, True Colors, Life is Strange is fantastic. It's such an incredible game. But lots and lots of good choices all the way through that. We have more from our guests around the industry. Let's take a look at some more Game of the Year ideas and suggestions and choices right here.
What is my Game of the Year? Is it Metroid Dread? Not quite. It's actually Centipede Recharged. Yeah, I am super old school, as a lot of you guys know. It is awesome. It takes the arcade classic Centipede and brings it to the future, to now. It's just a great shooter, one button firing, 12 power-ups, including spread fire. Amazing. It's just super fun, and it's got some great two-player modes. I play this game with my wife, and I play it solo, and I don't miss the trackball, which I never thought I would say about a Centipede remake. Unbelievable. Centipede Recharged. I highly recommend it, guys.
Hey, I'm Eric Monticelli. I'm the Senior Director of Product Development at Marvel Games. My pick for Game of the Year, I'm going to go with my bias picks, which would be Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. I think the team at Eidos did a phenomenal job crafting the world, getting our IP, understanding what to do with the IP, just a real love and passion for who the Guardians are, and told a great story about family and belief and just, learning to fit in when you feel like a bunch of misfits. Love the story they told, love the art of that game, love everything they did. So that's my bias pick. I got to work on that game with the talented teams there and loved everything Eidos Montreal did there. If I take off my Marvel hat, and the game that I think could win Game of the Year is Psychonauts 2. Double Fine just knocked it out of the park. They're just a great studio. Always been phenomenally just thoughtful and creative and imaginative. And some of the worlds I went into, some of the levels were just like huge, just psychedelic trips and just super fun. I love the, I don't want to spoil who the character is, but I love the levels that kind of look like old Beatles songs. We'll just put it that way. Great game. Great story, really powerful message for that game too, and those are two games, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy and Psychonauts 2, that just have really strong, beautiful messages, and I love what they did.
My Game of the Year at this point so far, going with Psychonauts 2. That game is incredible. It's really fun world to explore. It's really well written. But the thing that just stands out to me so much is just how creative that game is. Every level is just some other combination of things that just like, how in the world did this come out of anybody's head? Yeah, and just the hub worlds are really good. Just every part of it. I love it. I love Raz's family and the music and crazy game shows. Just, yeah. Wonderful game.
For my Game of the Year, I gotta admit there were two that were front-running everything else, and I had to pick one for this video, so I'm going with Psychonauts 2. Psychonauts 2 caught me off guard a bit here because I wasn't expecting the level of quality out of the game that we ended up getting. Originally, I was looking at it and said, you know what, I liked Psychonauts 1, it flew under the radar for a lot of people, but Psychonauts 2, when that came out, I think a lot more people took notice because it's a very high-quality 3D platformer with a ton of unique charm to it. The art style is great, the platforming is awesome, and there was a bit more emotion that could pull you in for this game with some of the storytelling, and I think it's a blast to play through, and it's an experience you're not going to get anywhere else. So I'm going with Psychonauts 2 for my Game of the Year.
The best game of 2021 is hands down Inscription. This is a game made by Daniel Mullins out in Vancouver, BC, and what it is indescribable. It's a bit of a deck builder with puzzly escape room elements. It has psychological horror elements, a bit of a mystery game, but it's also a roguelike. But what it really is truly unique and captivating and amazingly atmospheric. And it stands out as such a powerful experience in a year full of amazing indie titles. On top of that, it has amazing art and sound design. It is an absolute must play.
For Game of the Year is Forza Horizon 5. Why? Because of the same reasons that I have enjoyed Final Fantasy XIV throughout this entire year. Forza Horizon is probably one of the premier racing experiences, and it has been for a very long time. I'm not a very huge sim racer fan. I've always leaned a little bit more on the arcade side, so Gran Turismo has never really reached me in the same way, and Forza Horizon has carried that baton for quite some time. And to be honest, they've had an excellent game since probably Forza Horizon 2 that they've just iterated on time and time again. So at this point, it's just a fantastic experience driving across all of these different locations. And while I had problems with Forza Horizon 4's England, Forza Horizon 5's Mexico offers so much variety in terms of racing experiences and aesthetics. It's just so amazing to jump in, pick your favorite car out of a list of 500, and race around Mexico in a way that you wouldn't ever do in real life. And that's why Forza Horizon has always been excellent, and Forza Horizon 5 is the best version of that experience yet.
My Game of the Year is Age of Empires 4. I've been waiting so long for this game and the continuation of this franchise. I love what they've done with the game. I love the new mechanics and physics in the game, especially when you take down a castle wall. It's really cool, and I love how they've improved the game style. So it's my personal Game of the Year.
Okay, so my Game of the Year for 2021. This is actually like a really tough one for me because I loved so many different games for so many different reasons. I had a goddamn blast with Resident Evil Village, one of my favorite games probably of the decade. I love the atmosphere of the puzzles. The boss fights were fantastic. The entire world design was awesome. Just like really reminded me of like some of my favorite moments of Resident Evil 4. But I have to go with Forza Horizon 5, which is bizarre because I'm not a racing game guy at all, but this game completely hooked me. I was obsessed with it. I got every collectible. I barely even did the racing stuff in it, but I just love driving around this game. It was just so much fun. So sorry, Resident Evil Village, but it's Forza Horizon 5.
Yo, what's up, It's the one and only HipHopGamer, Hot 97 Logitech GAMD, and I'm gonna throw EP up in there, you know what I'm saying? Electric Playground, love you, bro. Victor Lucas in the building, I see you, son. Now, for this right here, this is Game of the Year, right? And yo, I already just told you, dog. You know what I'm saying? When I mentioned the PlayStation Game of the Year, in terms of Ratchet & Clank Ripped Apart, this is also my Game of the Year, bro. Like, there's no game, period, that touches Ratchet & Clank, you know what I'm saying? So first off, like I said, I love the gameplay, I love the story, the DualSense controller. When you use every single weapon, it's different, you know what I'm saying? Being able to go through different cities and different environments in an instant like that. Yo, bro, there's times where you can stand in between the different environments. It's unbelievable, you know what I'm saying? This is how I don't understand how I didn't win no awards. Like, are you kidding me? There's no game on the face of the earth right now that's pulled off what Insomniac Games pulled off that you can go to the store and buy right now or download. And it wasn't one of those games where it looked good or performed good because it was just in like a closed environment. This was open, mad stuff on screen. You had ray tracing, you had performance mode, and you had fidelity mode. You had all this stuff. Yo, the technology in this game alone, son. Come on, B. Ain't nobody touching. Yo, you're playing a CG film. That's what it looked like. No exaggeration, son. You're playing a CG film. So yes, this game is Game of the Year. I loved it. I played it straight through. I love the introduction of the new characters. Like, yo, come on, man. I'm telling you right now, son. Ratchet & Clank Ripped Apart, the entire game is a mic drop. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, that was my Game of the Year. I love that game. It's the one and only HipHopGamer. All day, baby. Dope of the game. The best right here. Electric Playground. Stay tuned. We out of here. Ratchet.
Man, I love having HipHopGamer in the mix of all of these. I love his passion and his authenticity, and he just brings, all of him to bear on that. He is clearly pissed off at everybody for not voting for Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart for best game of 2021. It was
I just want to know who he beat for the belt. Like, who did he beat for the belt? Because I feel like I was the champ long before HipHopGamer was the champ.
That's something I want to see. How do we orchestrate that? How do we get you and Hip Hop together?
It's like Ted DiBiase had a belt. We didn't see who he beat for it. He just had it.
He had it made though. He went through the process of getting.
I think HipHopGamer had that belt made. I mean, his name is on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's true.
Right? And I think he's got.
I put my name on a belt. You want me to put my name on a belt?
That guy has been a presence in the game space forever, and he's always had that kind of charisma and that charm, and he's very savvy, and that energy, man. The guy, I don't know, I've always been impressed by him, and I loved hearing from him. Loved hearing from everybody, and we have a few more to share with you as well. He does bring the energy, right? The Duder 101. Before we roll the Game of the Year, the last Game of the Year collection from our guests, I want to ask you guys your personal games of the year. Foobs, is it Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball? One more year?
Hands down, Vic. I got the beach. You can't see it because the green screen's set up, but there's a beach behind me. Volleyballs amidst. I got to throw on my tankini, and it's
you
on.
vote for it every year, every year we say no, Foobs, no.
No, I vote for it every year, and every year you cut it out of the episode. I watch it, and I was like, "Where's all the chitter chatter about my ear?" Like,
what is your favorite game of the year?
My favorite game of the year. It's tough.
Spelunky 2.
Spelunky 2 was my most played.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's rough for me because I saved Ghost of Tsushima until I could play it on a PS5.
Right.
And then the PS5 version came out, and I was like, I would love. It still looked incredible.
Yes, we had those. Was the remastered remakes our day, or was that two? I can't remember what day I ran that.
Yeah, it was.
It honestly, if you throw Mass Effect Legendary and Ghost of Tsushima into the mix with all of these, they're better games than the rest of the stuff that came out in 2021. I'm throwing down with that. Like Ghost of Tsushima it's just a superb experience. It's incredible.
It's like playing a samurai movie, son.
It is a bit, yeah. So that would be your pick, and that is a totally justifiable pick for Game of the Year.
I mean, for me, it sucks because I played last year's version. I still want to play the remastered version, but I want to play it like on my big screen because when I'm streaming, I'm on the little tiny, 35 inch. I want to play it on the 80-inch monster, like lights off, just man meat Mondays.
Sometimes I stream just straight from the console specifically for that reason. I don't want to deal with plugging into all of this. I just want to put my feet up and play the game like I would and just chat with people. I love streaming with the camera, but sometimes you just want to indulge in the game experience as well, for sure. And that's one that you want to do it with. So you haven't played it on PS5 then?
I mean, I have it. It's sitting there ready, but I'm like, I just because I want to just enjoy that game. I just want to enjoy it, and I have to move my PlayStation to it. Yeah, it's like, Oh man, I mean, it's tough. Like, I really love Returnal. I had a lot of fun. That's my Spelunky game of the updated. Oh my god, they can make Spelunky look real, and I get a thermal pylon gun. What?
Thermal pylons
for the win. I mean, for me, it's tough.
So, which one is it?
It's a tough choice. I would say Ghost is probably the game I will remember the most playing this year.
Okay, gotcha.
But I'm really loving Halo right now. So.
And Halo's amazing. Nice. Sean?
For me, it's No More Heroes.
Is it Pac-Man?
No, it's not Pac-Man.
Pokemon.
I got
Pokemon Snap
over here.
Pokemon Snap. Is it Pokemon
I haven't
Snap?
played Pokemon Snap actually, but for me, it's No More Heroes 3.
Nice.
I'm a big Suda51 fan.
Yes, me too.
Going back many years with his titles. Sometimes they've disappointed me, and the previous No More Heroes. Which was Travis Strikes Back.
I
wasn't as much
impressed.
a fan of.
Yeah,
but like this is kind of going back to form, and just like the entire world of Travis Touchdown is just so wacky and strange, but familiar at the same time. It's easy to get into, and then it's also. It's the way the game is set up is that you can spend a long time playing just like single missions and like wandering around and unlocking stuff and like doing these side missions, or you can like go in and just go for the kill. And just depending on how you feel or how I feel, that's how I enter this game. And I've been enjoying it since it came out. And
it is a quirky, authentic again masterpiece. It's just like this really beautiful piece of art. And what I love about that game is that it is like a collage of all kinds of different styles. There's great music styles in there too. Like there's incredible energy in every direction.
Yeah,
it's very self-aware that it's a game. It's a video game. It's celebrating it.
Yeah, I think Suda and Swery are my two favorite game developers. Zach, do you remember that E3 where we kept running into Swery and he was like selfies and he was like doing this like
That's
it's
awesome.
like dude.
Every time I see him, I have like 4 pictures of me and Swery.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
I've actually never met Swery.
Oh wow!
And I haven't played his games. Which not on purpose. I just haven't played them. Okay, we have a lot of other guests from across the landscape out there that have got some choices for their game of 2021.
Hey, this is Rocco from Mega64, and my game of the year might be Yakuza Like a Dragon, but that's technically a 2020 game, even though I waited to play it on PS5, which came out in 2021. If I can't pick Yakuza Like a Dragon, then my game of the year is Metroid Dread on the Switch. I'm very excited for Metroid Prime 4, don't get me wrong, but my heart has always belonged to 2D Metroid. I loved the environments, the music, the design, just of everything. They truly delivered and gave us the 2D Metroid game we had been waiting a long time for. The only thing I could criticize is maybe next time, let's make it a little easier. Some of us happen to be terrible at games, so I don't, maybe next time think of us. Just a thought. But, aside from a couple bosses I had to fight a couple hundred times, I love this game. They really knocked it out of the park. So Metroid Dread, my favorite game of the year. If I can't pick Yakuza Like a Dragon. They're both good. I can't decide.
Best game of 2021 for me, that is definitely Deathloop. Just the whole concept behind this game is amazing. That you're this assassin with amnesia stuck in a time loop, and you wake up on this island and you've got a single day to kill 8 targets, and every day you fail to do that, you repeat the time loop until you learn their movements and their personalities, and it's this wild mix of 1960s kind of culture with high-tech but kind of low-tech weaponry, and just like this perfect stew of ideas. The Folks Arcane Studios are the same ones who did the Dishonored series and Prey being one of my all-time favorite games, and they just kind of like peaked or reached a new peak with Deathloop. It's just full of cool weapons and funny characters and a wild world and amazing ideas. And yeah, for me, there was no better game in 2021 than Deathloop.
I'm gonna be a bit unorthodox here and say that my game of the year is not one that was released this year. It is a bit of cheating here, but I'll explain. I think the game of the year for me has to be Sonic Generations. Thanks to the Microsoft backwards compatibility program, it's sort of like brand new again. And I've really been loving everything about that game again in a brand new way. So while it is cheating, I think with Microsoft's excellent program, you really get to see just how great that game design was. And it's a shame that Sonic Team didn't continue to do so with the future games, and maybe it will come back. There's always rumors of that. But I have to say that the game of the year for me is the kind of remastered Sonic Generations. It's not fully remastered, but thanks to the backwards compatibility program, I'd say it still counts. For me, it does at least.
There were a lot of really good games that came out throughout the entire year, but I think for me, what it comes down to is the game that I had the most fun with and the game that I was the most immersed with. And that's a game that came out, or at least the campaign came out, just a couple of days ago, or at least as of when this is being recorded. And you probably guessed it at this point. That's right, my game of the year is Halo Infinite. I've been having a blast with the multiplayer for the last 2 weeks. It is so much fun, and it feels very much like a true sequel to Halo Halo 3. It's still missing some features and the monetization is a bit of an issue, but hopefully with community feedback, 343 continues to improve the multiplayer aspect. What they don't need to really worry about is the campaign. Talk about immersion. Halo Infinite's story is incredible. I was just completely blown away with Halo Infinite. What else can I say? And it feels like there's still so much that 343 can do to improve the game and make it that ultimate Halo experience that everyone is dying for. But right now, it still stands as my game of the year.
My game of the year for 2021 has got to be It Takes Two. I absolutely adore the game. It's awesome to play with a friend. You have to play it with a friend. And the experience of cooperating and exploring this incredible miniaturized world is so much fun. The game's gorgeous. It's way longer and bigger than it ever needed to be. There's just so much game there. And it constantly is reinventing itself, doing new things, changing up how you play. It's kind of a riff on every game genre. You play every kind of game inside this game. And it does almost every kind of game really, really well. It's a blast. I found myself exclaiming as I was playing with my friend, "What? This is amazing!" over and over and over again. There are so many cool moments in it. And there's nothing like playing with your friend. It figures out how to do that in a very, very fun, clever way. Such a wonderful game. And it has heart. It has a beautiful story of this marriage trying to come back together. I loved It Takes Two, and it is my game of the year for 2021.
My pick for game of the year this year has to be Deathloop. It is no secret that I am a huge fan of Arcane and the games that they make, and Deathloop just felt like this beautiful culmination in all the skills and things that I have grown to know and love about Arcane games, all in one beautiful, beautiful title. It was so elegant, it's so clever, and I genuinely just... the act of replaying it over and over to get mastery of it in order to finish it just meant that my appreciation for it just grew the more and more I played it. I think it is an absolutely unbelievably incredible game, and so my game of the year is Deathloop.
You know, this is hard. I don't really know yet what my game of the year is. Here's what I'll tell you. Unlike a lot of folks who suggest this was not a great year for gaming, I think if you stay on the mainstream path, I think it was a really good year for gaming. But yeah, you didn't have a huge just slam dunk or a series of slam dunks. You had a lot of really decent, really cool games. But I play a lot of things, and if you look at the indie scene this year, it was incredibly impressive. So I don't know, man. I mean, you're asking me to pick a favorite kid because there were some great things this year. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I don't know if this is going to stick. But I think as of right now, oh my goodness gracious. Here's what I'll tell you. Yeah, I'll tell you this. Game of the year, and I know Victor's like, he sends me a text like, keep it between 30 and 60 seconds. Hey, that's how he sounds. That's how all Canadians sound. I can't do that, Victor, because this is an important question and it matters. It's between two things that have a great deal in common. One is Century Age of Ashes, which is a brand new free-to-play game where you basically, it's dogfighting with dragons. It's Twisted Metal with fucking serpents in the sky. Or a game called Severed Steel, which is a single-player first-person shooter. Both of them allow you as a gamer to actually feel like it felt watching and reading about dragons when you were a kid growing up, or watching, in Severed Steel's case, action movies like, Die Hard and Speed and John Wick. I've never seen a video game capture putting you in the shoes of like an action movie star like Severed Steel. It delivers the fantasy I've had for wanting that kind of game my whole life. So between Severed Steel and Century Age of Ashes, I'm going to go with Severed Steel at the moment as my game of the year 2021.
Love David Jaffe's impression of me. Thank you, David. Thank you for your great suggestions. Two games I'd never even heard of. I can't even remember. Century Age of Ash or something, and Severed Steel. I'd never even heard of these games.
Severed Steel game looks like a badass, like super hot, but with like
Yes,
a little bit of
but in
extra
real time.
effort in graphics. And
Yeah, and I always like that that dragon flying game on the PlayStation 3. Lair. I always thought the idea was cool, but remember they had to do the controls, the 6-axis controls, and it didn't kind of sabotage the game.
Right through the TV.
Yeah.
Wham!
That didn't work, but this looks pretty cool. This dragon combat game. I have to check that out. That looks awesome. I do see David. I mean, the way he sets up his show on YouTube, he's always playing stuff and just chatting about things, and he dives deep in all that stuff. That's honestly what's been really cool about the folks that we reached out to. They are obviously, media and YouTubers and stuff that play a lot of games, but then we also got some developers like Annunziata, the creator of Ecco the Dolphin, and he was the producer on the X-Men games for the Sega Genesis. Like, really fantastic insight. I'm so grateful. Some great technical work from the folks at Digital Foundry, kind of laying out their reasons from the technical perspective. Audi had this pretty crazy choice for Sonic Generations as a backwards compatible on the new Xbox Series X and S, because the frame rate is vastly improved, which I haven't checked that out. I definitely want to do it. JBJ Blaze has just whitelisted Severed Steel on Steam. Very good. Little J Club, will any of you guys be working with G4 now that it's back? Used to watch you all back in high school, so it's cool to see you together again. Much love from Montreal. The door's not closed with G4. G4 had the launch, and I've talked about this before. Wishing everybody over there good luck and well with what they've got going on. But yeah, EP's got a long history with G4. Who knows? So no answer, no comment on any of that stuff right now, but the door is definitely not closed over there. All right, JBJ Blaze is sold on Severed Steel. Best games I've ever seen. Starlord23 says, yeah, it's been a good year. Maybe not the shocking, end of a console life cycle like The Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima were last year, sort of the last huge swings out from the PlayStation studios on that hardware. But still a really, really strong year.
Pandemic year.
And in the pandemic, you're right, because we had a lot of stuff delayed that's coming out in 2022 now.
So it's like the games that did come out, at least we got games. I was terrified it was going to be like, how are they going to do stuff?
Totally.
How are they going to work? How are games going to...
Like, you're right. Elden Ring, I think, was supposed to come out in 2021, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Anyways,
but whatever.
Time is a flat circle now. It's really hard to figure out.
It's like the Earth.
Yeah.
Flat circle.
Just like the Earth. You heard it here first, everybody.
My favorite thing, just a quick gripe. It's like you got the people that are like, the Earth is round, the Earth is flat. Have you ever looked at a picture of the flat Earth? It's still round. So even if it's flat, it's round.
Yeah.
It's never not round. Just saying. Flat Earthers.
Round Earth.
Round Earthers.
Round Earth.
Yeah, we should start a whole new campaign. We believe the Earth is round.
The Earth is round.
Okay. Let us move on to our nominees for the best game of 2021. Returnal, developed by Housemarque and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. Halo Infinite, developed by 343 Industries and published by Xbox Game Studios. Metroid Dread, developed by Mercury Steam and Nintendo and published by Nintendo. Deathloop, developed by Arcane Studios and published by Bethesda Softworks. Ratchet & Clank: A Rift Apart, developed by Insomniac Games and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. It Takes Two, developed by Hazelight Studios and published by Electronic Arts. Psychonauts 2, developed by Double Fine and published by Xbox Game Studios. Tales of Arise, developed and published by Bandai Namco. Forza Horizon 5, developed by Playground Games and published by Xbox Game Studios. HipHopGamer will be happy to know that Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart made it into the Electric Playground Game of the Year nominees list.
Oh,
It's
nominated,
an incredible
son!
game. And I think there were some pretty cool surprises there with Forza Horizon 5. We heard several people from the community talk about that. And we also have Tales of Arise, which I thought was the best of many great RPGs that came out this year. Which I think, kind of out of nowhere ideas and concepts. We don't normally point to like a traditional JRPG and say, yep, that's one of the best games of the year, but definitely Tales of Arise is, although there were several great JRPGs this year. And then Psychonauts 2, that was something that you played, Foobs. Did you love that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've been waiting for that game. I backed it way back when backing that was a thing.
Yeah.
Finally came out. It was like waiting for Shenmue 3. Like, when is it going to come out? I backed it day one. It finally came out. It was like, it was just such a great little, like, it's what I wanted it to be. Like, it was like, sure, there was stuff that it could have done and went crazy over the top, but it was still just a perfect little Psychonauts experience, and that hopefully people who didn't play the first one got a chance to play that one and then maybe go back and play the original and be like, okay, all right, I see where all these things kind of trickle into each other.
And It Takes Two is on our list, and of course, it won the Game of the Year at the Game Awards last year. I think it's a total, this year, last week. I think it totally was justified in that win. I think, just like Jeff Cannata said, it's just loaded with choice and sort of new game genre after new game genre, or new mechanic after new mechanic. It's a wonderful experience. It's not, however, the choice that we're going with here. I was very close on both Returnal and Metroid Dread. They were kind of going neck and neck for me all year long. Shaun, you've got some hooks into Metroid Dread. That's been one of your favorite games this year?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you think it should be on this list?
Yeah, I think it deserves to be on the list. I don't know if it would be Game of the Year.
Yep.
So far, like, something about it isn't hooking me the way the Prime series did. And I think my last Metroid experience kind of burned me on the franchise, and that was Other M.
We don't talk about that, Shaun.
This
is the Game of the Year.
Let's rewind. Anyway, so coming out of that, I was just cautiously optimistic, let's say, and there's things to. I still think that the Prime series is like the pinnacle of Metroid, and deserves an HD remake at some point.
Where is that stuff, for sure? Foobs, I know that you adore Returnal as much as I do.
Yeah.
Is that the one that you would choose off of this list?
Oh, for Game of the Year?
Yeah.
It's tough though. I mean, for people saying that this was sort of a down year in games, there's so many good games on this list.
Totally. Deathloop is right in there, and Returnal and Deathloop are kind of side by side, right? This kind of idea of redoing these things and learning a little bit more and soaking up all of the details.
And specifically too with Deathloop and Returnal, I feel like there were two games I didn't really. It's like, you know what they are? They're two new IPs.
Yeah, that's true.
They're like, I had no idea what to expect when I saw the first trailer for Deathloop. I was like,
yep.
okay, this game looks like. You're rewinding time. How's that going to play? And then going through and experiencing it was just like, I wasn't expecting it to be as deep as it was. And we talked about it a couple days ago, just looking for all the little nooks and crannies for secret things that don't have to do with the story, but you still want to figure it out because maybe it will. If I open this safe, I'm going to get a code to find out what time this guy takes a bath. And I don't know. But then Returnal, I was just like, what? It's like what? It's the roguelike third person crazy action with a thermal pylon gun
with the bullet hell. With all the dodging and weaving, and
I was playing Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and there's that gun where you can drop in items from other games. I was hoping I could drop in the thermal pylon gun from Returnal, and like
today's episode is brought to you by the thermal pylon gun, by the way, which is awesome.
I'm giving it its own award. I nominate it as best weapon in a game.
That's a great award. I like that very much. I think we need a best retro and a best weapon next year. I like that, dude. That's great.
Foobs, did you steal an EP, Mike? he still got one of those.
Bro, you never know when interviews pop up.
He's ready to go.
You gotta be ready.
I'm sure there's one kicking around in Toronto too, Sean.
I gotta talk.
They're out there. They're in the world. Those mics have traveled. Okay, well that leaves us with our winner, which is Halo Infinite, which is the opposite of new IP. It is IP that came with huge expectations, but we have a little celebration of Halo Infinite as our winner for Game of the Year, and we'll come back and we'll talk about exactly why Electric Playground has chosen this game as the best of 2021. There are going to be a lot of different opinions about Halo being chosen as the best game of the year. A lot of people, I see people are happy, people are not happy in the chat. We didn't hear Halo Infinite come up all that often by our guests from across the industry, but I'll tell you why I really chose this as the game. I played the campaign about a week before it was out in the world and got through it. Everything else that I had to do around work stopped. And it was because I wanted to get to the end. I wanted to feel all of what 343 had endeavored to build for this thing. And I just felt like, wow, this is not only a terrific game, like if you just take it out of context and out of all of the expectations that we have around this, it works on every level that way. But it does loop in the history and the love and the sharing and all of the work that Bungie did prior to 343. And it really was a showpiece for why we care about Halo. And then I noticed how much the multiplayer was really hooking me, and I was just loving it. It became effortless. It was interesting that I was playing that and Battlefield 2042 at the same time, and I'd just come off of Call of Duty Vanguard. But the thing I wanted to play in multiplayer out of all of these games was Halo. It was an effortless win to jump in, and it was joyous every single time I did touch the game. And I just felt like that collection of all of these different disparate elements, it's not perfect, and there's still more refinement and more, content that's coming and more things that we can expect out of it. But God, it's a massive, massive title. And I think the other part of this story is that we didn't expect that 343 was going to actually pull this off. We thought it was in trouble, this game. We thought that they delayed it for a reason. And I don't know, maybe my expectations were set a little bit lower. But what I do hear across the industry, I think, Foobs, you're partway through the campaign right now. And, I feel the love. I hear the love for Halo again. And so when I sort of totaled it all up, it's like, well, this is kind of an irrefutable win. Like it's just the total package, It's got us back into this franchise, which we felt was kind of sliding away. 4 and 5 weren't terrible games, but it felt like, okay, maybe Halo had its moment. But now it's back, and it's a huge new moment, and it's crazy fun. And also all the affordable ways that people can access the game and the multitude of ways that people can play it. It's just like, yep, no, this is it. This is the most fun video game experience that I've had in 2021. And all of those games could have won, And up until Halo, I was pretty sure I was going to give it to Returnal because of all the things that you just said, Foobs. Having played Thermal Pylon. Having played as much Halo as you have now, because I know you've been playing the multiplayer as well, do you feel like, do you share some of these thoughts too, or do you think that I've made the wrong choice there?
No, I mean, I'll definitely agree with it. But again, it's another thing. All these games could have won.
Any one of them, yes.
All these games,
including Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which is a phenomenal game.
And it's such a great just showcase piece for what the PlayStation 5 is.
Totally, yes.
And what it can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like just the expectation for Halo is obviously it's, when you're talking about Xbox, the 20th anniversary of Xbox.
That too.
And you're dropping a Halo game. You can't mess it up.
And it was supposed to be a 19th anniversary of Halo.
Yeah.
And there's something about the way that this all worked, coming out this year, the redemption year for Xbox in a lot of ways. You know, the Bethesda news was that, like, Xbox just crushed it this year.
Yeah.
They really just put the flag in the ground, said, we're here for games, we're here for good, and you know, we're going to do a lot of things to let people play a lot of our backwards compatibility, or backwards content, backwards compatibility content. Backwards compatibility content, a lot of words in that. And we're going to start delivering on some of these huge purchases and investments that we have been investing in, and I think that's great. I think that's just great news for them, but for the video game industry.
Yeah, I mean, and the same could be said for PlayStation. You know, they had, you know, Deathloop exclusive this year.
Sure.
They had Ratchet and Clank
and
Returnal, which were all nominated on this list. And I mean,
and two great remasters and MLB. You know, yes, for sure, PlayStation did, but they didn't have a Last of Us or a God of War. Or
they will next year.
But they will, yeah.
They gave us the PS5 director's cut stuff.
And same with Sony. Like, they had Metroid Dread, and they had a really good
Nintendo.
Mario game, but they didn't have that 2017 type year. What's that?
Said Sony.
You said Sony.
Oh, sorry. And then, yeah, same thing could be said with Nintendo. Is the they didn't have that 2017 kind of crazy year with Zelda and Mario and.
What are you talking about, Vic? They put out not just Spelunky 1, but Spelunky 2 as well this summer.
Okay, all right.
Two Spelunkies came out on the Switch this year.
Well,
and the Animal Crossing DLC.
And the Animal Crossing DLC was incredible. And Pokemon and Zelda kind of remakes and redos were really fun as well. But it wasn't that same, like mountain. It wasn't like the Astral Chain year, which was our game of the year in 2019. That game was incredible. Was it 2019? 2018? I don't know. Time has no meaning anymore. I can't remember when things happened. I want to hear from our chat real quick. You guys punch in your favorite game, your game of the year picks for 2021. And as you're doing that, we're going to thank our sponsor, the Gaming Stadium. Thank you for supporting Electric Playground throughout the year and for supporting the Rocket Raygun Awards. The Rocket Raygun Awards are brought to you by the Gaming Stadium. They are Canada's leader in online esports tournament facilitation, and they've got tournaments happening every single weekend that you don't want to miss out on. You can find out all about them at tgs.gg. That's the energy we love, Foobs. I love it. Okay, I've got some choices here. Demio or Song in the Smoke from the VR Grid. Demio is an excellent game. Coco Beware is all about Riders Republic. I love that freaking game. It won Best Sports Game, Coco. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart from Star-Lord, Arthurian Legends from The Last Disciple. I love these games that the radar dish hasn't moved over. Cruisin' Blast from Ninty Fan, that's awesome. Quake Remastered, Power Rangers. Death's Door from Little J Club. What do we got here? Demio, I see, not putting a game on a disc. Smash Brothers King. Oh, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy from Blair Farrell. Yeah, that really surprised me. You guys haven't played that game yet.
I have not. Sadly,
Definitely
I'm sorry.
should. Yeah, it's an excellent game.
I'll add it to the list. I got
Hard
another
pick
week and a
between
half.
P2, Horizon 5, and It Takes Two for me from JBJ Blaze. The Untitled Goose Game is my favorite played this year. Honorable mention for Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut from John Yomtov. Also agrees with me with Halo Infinite. Votes for Psychonauts 2 are in there. Vic, you deserve a standing ovation for this whole week. Let's give Vic an ovation. You're so kind. Thank you, Thunderpin. Thank you. Honestly, thank you guys for tuning in and being a part of this, but also for sending in the vids. I had a lot of fun putting all of those montages together. Got some great commentary from everybody. And thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for joining me throughout the week, but also today. This was a lot of fun.
Hey, anytime.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Pandemic, Vic. We don't leave the house really much. I mean, I'm in the same room Shaun was in yesterday.
Well, Foobs, your copy of Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball should arrive before Christmas.
Are you
You're
kidding?
welcome.
It's behind the screen.
Oh, yeah. You guys rule. Thank you so much. Happy holidays if I don't see you or talk to you before then. And we'll definitely connect for podcasts and all kinds of fun stuff in 2022. Okay, you guys? Put that.
Okay, sure. Are you talking to us or chat?
I'm talking to you guys.
Oh, okay.
We'll put that EP microphone to good use, my friend. Thank you, everybody. We will see you soon. I'll be back on Tuesday with a review of The Matrix Resurrection, so look out for that on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/EPN. TV. Thank you all for being here, for supporting, for subscribing, and we'll see you soon. Until then, play forever.